All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CMB checking in, and this one's going to be somewhat of a rant, guys. I want to talk about Terence Crawford. You guys know, who've been watching this channel for a while, that I am a huge Terence Crawford fan. And the reason I'm a fan of Terence Crawford, the reason, I think he's the best fighter in the world right now. And the reason I believe that is because of his skill set. I'm one of those guys who loves a fighter that has a tremendous skill set. He's a complete fighter in my book. It's not just about knockouts with him. His sharp mind, superior boxing IQ, just being able to make adjustments when things get tight, and his work ethic, as well as his, I see him as a throwback fighter, always in shape, always in the gym, taking his craft very seriously. All those things matter to me as a boxing fan. Now, for a long time, I talked about how I wanted to see Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford in the ring. And a lot of you guys thought that this was delusional. You thought that this would never happen. And I always say on this channel, never say never when it comes to the sport of boxing. So fast forward to today, that fight is going to happen if Canelo Alvarez does, take care of business in May against William Skull and regain his IBF title that was stripped from him. He will become a two-time undisputed champion at 168, and then we're going to get the biggest fight in boxing. Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing, versus the pound-for-pound king Terence Crawford for undisputed at 168. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, guys. Now, about 6 months, maybe 5 months ago, I made a video talking about how the American media loves to tear down Terence Crawford. Well, things haven't changed. It's still the same. I talked about in that video how other countries put their fighters up on a pedestal. I talked about how when Martin Bakole defeated Big Baby Jared Anderson, he went home to a hero's welcome. I talked about how Naoya Inoue, the Japanese fighter, how much he's loved in his country of Japan. I talked about how who was it? Artur Beterbiev. He went to Russia to a hero's welcome. And I didn't talk about this one, but Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is beloved in the UK. Despite if he wins or if he loses, his countrymen are always behind him. But it's not like that here in the States. We tear down our best and our brightest stars. We do that. We want to tear them down. We don't want to lift them up. We just try to make like anything they've done, any accomplishments they have made in the sport of boxing doesn't mean anything. You got Chris Williams writing hit pieces on Terence Crawford every chance he gets. You have boxing YouTubers who make hit pieces on Terence Crawford because they couldn't get an interview with Crawford. It's the same shit time and time again with these guys. And they try to act like Crawford has done anything. Crawford is a two-time undisputed champion in two weight classes, by the way. 140 and 147 pounds. He's a 4-division champion. But they'll tell you he hasn't fought anyone. That's what they're going to tell you. He's the pound-for-pound king for a reason. And not because he didn't fight anyone. He's been fighting an uphill battle his whole life. And now he's in a position to get the biggest fight of his career, and people want to act like he's done nothing. And that always irks me. It always bothers me. And here it is. Like I said, he's an undisputed champion in two weight classes. If he beats Canelo Alvarez, he'll become an undisputed champion in 3 weight classes. And he's talking about going back to 154 if he defeats Canelo to become undisputed in a 4th weight class. That's ambition. That's a guy who, you know, really cares about his legacy in the sport of boxing. But yet, you know, they don't put him on a pedestal here. And it really does bother me as a boxing fan. So that's why I'm here to talk about him and put him in the spotlight. You know, I don't want to tear him down. Even if he loses to Canelo Alvarez, I will not tear Terence Crawford down, because he dared to be great. He took the opportunity, he took the risk to go up to 168 to do the unthinkable. Canelo Alvarez is no easy win in my book. I don't know if Crawford will win the fight, but I do admire his tenacity. I do admire his drive and his dedication to the sport of boxing. But the press here, they're just out of pocket, guys. They're out of pocket all the time. And some of your favorite YouTubers, you know who these guys are. Like I said, they criticized Crawford because they couldn't get an interview. So what, you couldn't get an interview? Keep it real. A lot of these guys, they sit here and they bash the media, the mainstream media, but then they turn around and they do the same old shit. So yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest. You know, this is informal, you know, no scripts, none of that stuff. I just turned the camera on. I felt compelled to talk about it. The American boxing media need to get their shit together. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think about it in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.